Shah, Bahashem Kapadash. And you know, let's just get into it. You know, I'm just waiting for this demon to pass. You know, I was just thinking about, you know, they're just going off in the spirit. You know, just something come to my, you know, attention. You know, yeah, it's true. You know, when you're in this truth, your eyes, you know, you fully woke. You know, not like how this woke politic bullshit is. You're fully awakened when the spirit gets on you, man. You know, you see the condition our people are in. You know, you see how destitute Jake is out here in the streets. You know, especially the so-called Negroes. You see how destitute and so much poverty we living in. You know, and you're like, man, you hate to see your people like that, man. You know, but Jake don't want it no other way, though, man. You know, they refuse to turn back to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, or adhere to the laws of the Most High. They refuse to do it. They don't want to do it. So they're willing to be at the bottom, you know, to be ridiculed, lied on, cheated, you know, looked as the dregs of society, just because they don't want to stick to the covenant, man. And you know, and I was out today earlier on a delivery, and I saw, you know, ran into a little nigger woman working. You know, I looked at her. You know, she looked at me, kind of smiled. You know, I looked at her back, and then, but I looked to where she was going to, and she, you know, she's working for Ishmael, man. She's a servant up in like Ishmael school or something, daycare center. Looks like a daycare center. You know, and she's a servant in there, man, and she's just happy she want to be. You know, which I think, man, that shit. It's like Jake is sick in the head, man. You know, they out of their damn mind. You know, you have to be out of your fucking mind if you like being on the bottom, man. These heathens, these goyim, you know, they're over us, man. And it's not a good feeling, you know? The man of the Lord, we can't stand it. We hate that these heathens are over us. Especially the most wicked dirtbag of them all, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. We hate the fact that crackers over us, you know? But hey, we understand, you know, we messed up. We didn't keep the covenant. And we're in the situation that we in now, man. But we know, all through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, that eventually, you know, the curses are going to flip, and it's going to be on our enemies, man. You know, the curses is going to be on them. You know, soon they're going to be our servants. They're going to serve us hand and foot all time of night. You know, they're going to be dealing with our, you know, tending to our children, you know, just like how they did us in slavery, man, where we was Esau's fucking, you know, nannies, butlers and shit like that. These heathens are going to be the same way, you know. They're going to take care, you know, the kingdom, man. They're going to take care of Yahshua y'all are being our servants, our slaves. You know, and we're coming fastly approaching that day. You know, so, but I was looking at this so-called nigga woman, you know, and I was looking at her and she was so happy. And I'm like, man, Jake just loves playing the slave, man. You know, you like being just the only nigga they dealing with. You know, these heathens got a token nigga. You know? You know, you don't want to buck up against them. You know, you think this is how it's supposed to be. But the man of the Lord, all through the power and the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is telling you this is not how it's going to be, man. We're not going to have these fucking heathens ruling over us forever, man. You know? They're going to soon be forgotten as being rulers of the earth. You know? Yahushua's coming back to take their crowns, man, and free the captives, the elect. Because the elect are the only ones who are sighing and crying for the hell that we're in, man. We're saying, Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, come get us out of the clutches of these fucking heathens, man. Get us out of the clutches of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. You know? We're sighing and crying, man. You know? And Yahushua is coming to set the captives free, man. And it's just that simple. So let's get a precept, man. This is Jeremiah 2:14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So yeah, just, you know, running into that little nigga woman, you know, she was so happy, just smiling. You know, she had a good personality, looked like, on her. You know, she may be a so-called Benjaminite, not a so-called Benjaminite, a so-called Jamaican, or a so-called Haitian, because she had a different spirit than the Judite woman. You know? You know, or she may have been a Hamite. But, you know, but Jake in general, you know, when you see the Northern Kingdom just out here cutting grass on roofs, or you see this Southern Kingdom out here just on these plantations, you know, they love being servants, man. They love taking care of these damn heathens and being known as, you know, they didn't got comfortable being second and third and fourth, fifth class citizens, man. They've you know, they've taken on that spirit of just being a damn servant, man. You know, and that just fucking, you know, that just some fucking just some bullshit, you know? You know, they got very, very comfortable, man. So yeah, I'm back, man. I'm in transit in the video, and everybody and they fucking man me outside on the street because they can hear me in the car. You know, if I'm talking too loud. They even had a devil on the bridge, man. You know, with his windows down. That ain't never fucking happened. You know, so these demons are trying to stop the word. You know, but it ain't gonna happen, man. It's not gonna happen. It's gonna go out. You know, and I'm gonna get this video, this lesson up, man. You know, because our people become very comfortable being servants. You know, they love being the so-called white man's pet, man. They love shooting ball in his gym. You know, catching his fucking pigskin football. You know? And you niggas are fucking disgusting, man. You know, here it is. We're the kings of the earth, and you niggas done fucking took the low road, man. You settle for damn fucking being a damn servant, man. You know, so thank goodness, man, that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is gonna get us out of this. Because if it was up to you, so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, man, we'll be here forever, man. You know, this would be like the new. Well, it ain't. Let me take that back. So, like, let me slow down. You know, this is Rome reincarnated, but you niggas would be like it was back in Rome, where I believe the Empire of Rome went on for like 1,000 years, and you niggas would be very comfortable, you know, happy, ecstatic with that if that happened all over again, man. You know, but this new Rome, it's not gonna go on like 1,000 years, man. You know, we're looking at months, man. You know, maybe a year or two. Who could be? 12 months, 24 months, something like that. You know, 36 months. You know, that's the time frame. Not saying that it is, but you know, but just to give you in the aspect, man, we looking at months that this thing could be over with, and we could be in the kingdom chilling, man, ruling over our oppressors, man. So let's read that Jeremiah 2:14 again. It says, "Is Israel a servant?" Yeah, Jake is a servant, man, a happy servant at that. Is he a homeborn slave? Yes, Jake loves serving these heathens, man. You so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans love being servants, man. You love it. You wouldn't have it no other way. Say, why is he spoiled? He's spoiled because he broke the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, man. You broke the covenant, Jake. And look at us. And now we got to get the damn curses, man. You know, all we had to do was keep the laws. But no, niggas always got to do something the hard way, man. You know? And here we are. I was trying to see if I could find this precept real quick before I got off of here. Sorry, I can't find the one that I wanted, but I'll get another one though. It's Hosea 12:7. It says, "He is a merchant," talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. "The balances of deceit are in his hand. He loveth to oppress." Yeah, so he loved to oppress you so-called Negro, Latinos, or Native Americans and the other nations. You know? And when you're a slave, you're a captive, you get oppressed. And the number one slave driver on the planet is Esau Edom. So he's oppressing you, man. I don't give a fuck how much money he giving you niggas a year. 20, 30, 50 million, 20 million extended contract. You know, he done made you $1 billion with your fucking with your Nike shoes. Whatever the case may be, man, you still oppressed. You know, you still gotta go through him. You still can be told no. You know? You still gotta be in a nigga's place, or a Spic's place, or a prairie nigga place, man. You know, so the man of the Lord, we ain't with that. And we know that Yahushua's gonna come back and gonna sit us on top, man. Where we supposed to be. Kings and priests and gods of the earth, man. You know? Like we supposed to be. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that out because it was in my spirit earlier to bring it out. You know, when I ran into, I believe it was Eve. You know, and I'm like, man, you serving Ishmael like that, and she's so happy. You know, I'm like, man, we hit rock bottom, man. We've hit rock bottom. But, you know, before I get out of here, man, I'm gonna give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Shalom.